Yes.
Quite a lot of deals to discuss with European football expert Kevin Hatchard. Good afternoon, Kev.
Hey, Kev.
Afternoon, gents. How are we?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good, thank you. I was reading earlier on, it seems Arsenal are suddenly in the mix for Kolo Muani. It looks like he might be a bit rich for Juve's blood, but Dortmund is showing an interest. Tottenham apparently showing an interest. So do you know what the latest is on him?
Yeah, I think lots of clubs will be showing an interest because he's a quality player who, for whatever reason, is surplus to requirements. Suddenly, at Paris Saint-Germain, Luis Enrique doesn't seem to see him as a good fit for what he wants to do in the forward areas. So they're keen to free up some more cash. Obviously, Kvaratskhelia looks as though he's going to go to Paris. So that's one fewer spot in the forward line available. So what you're looking at is the guy who's a regular French international, somebody who's very much trusted by Didier Deschamps, somebody who was excellent in the Bundesliga with Eintracht Frankfurt. So you can understand why there's so much interest. The Juve one has been the most persistent link, but I've said, you know, quite often, even before this Gabriel Jesus news, that I couldn't understand why Arsenal hadn't actually entered this particular race, because it seems to me he'd be a great fit for them.
Yeah, they need something. I mean, there's a lot of criticism over the weekend when they went out the cup of trying to use Havertz as a sort of utility striker.
There's been a lot of talk about Vlahovic as well. Is there any chance they could get him out of Juve in January, or is that unlikely?
I think it's possible, but it depends on the numbers. I think Juve have used him a lot as their primary centre forward, but the debate has raged about whether he's actually a good fit for what Thiago Motta wants to do. You know, does he want that kind of out-and-out centre forward? Vlahovic has scored goals, but it's not a perfect fit. And so I think if Juve got a good chunk of money for him, that might be something they're prepared to do. But I think it would have to be a permanent deal, which obviously then makes it a bit more complex.
Martín Zubimendi was linked to Liverpool, decided to stay at Sociedad. Liverpool probably don't need him now, the way things have shaken up in their midfield. He thought City might go for him, but it now seems Arsenal pretty close to getting it done, but not until the summer, Kevin.
Yeah, it looks that way. I'm not surprised that it's a deal that would be in the summer, because Zubimendi, very loyal to Real Sociedad. They're not having the season they expected to have, so I think he feels he can help them maybe try and qualify for Europe again. And he is an outstanding defensive midfielder, there's no doubt about it. Great passer of the ball, wins the ball so often to start counter-attacks. And I think he's somebody that would have fitted right in with Liverpool and will fit right in with Arsenal. I think it was probably pretty close, that Liverpool move. I think that was genuine. I think, you know, that could have happened if he'd had a change of heart. But he's somebody who has always spoken with a lot of pride about playing for Real Sociedad, and I think it was always going to be a wrench for him to leave. But of course, Arsenal have already prized a midfielder out of Real Sociedad, bringing Mikel Merino to the Emirates. So there's that link there already.
Be a free, would it, that, Kev?
Well, no,
it wouldn't be a free, no, but yeah, it'd be a big chunk of money.
I said about 51 million.
51 million,
really?
yeah.
That's
what they're talking about. No. So he's... that may seem expensive. I think for the player he is, it's not, because it's not easy to get players with that kind of composure and that kind of quality in that deep midfield position.
No, it'd be good business for them.
Have a hole to fill there, yeah. Chelsea
and Bayern could be doing a bit of horse trading. Christopher Nkunku seems very keen on getting some regular football, not being in the B team. And Bayern are interested. Chelsea are interested in Mathys Tel. I don't know a great deal about another forward. What's the story there, Kevin?
Well, we'll start with Mathys Tel, because this is a guy who's Bayern's youngest ever scorer. He burst onto the scene as a teenager. He's still got huge potential, but he's kind of been the odd man out this season for Bayern. He hasn't had a lot of game time. Vincent Kompany has gone with other players in those wide areas, and Harry Kane starts most games, and so he hasn't really had much of an opportunity through the middle either. But he's somebody that Bayern very much think they could work with. He's on a long contract. Christoph Freund, who's one of several sporting directors they have, has come out and said that he's somebody that they want to keep. But I think why this came about was that the discussions for Nkunku are live and ongoing, and he is a player that Bayern wanted to sign when he was at RB Leipzig. He was exceptional for them. He was the joint top scorer in the Bundesliga not that long ago. And he's somebody I think would be perfect for Bayern, in the sense that he'd be the long-term replacement for Thomas Müller, as somebody who can play up top, play a bit deeper, also play in wide areas. He's the kind of Swiss Army knife that they need. So he wants regular first-team football. He's played in the Bundesliga. He knows it works. And Bayern are a huge club.
Palace and Brentford showing interest in a Benfica player, a winger, Jan-Niklas Beste. So where's the likely destination, would you say? Do you expect him to go in January?
Yeah, I do expect him to go. It's not really worked out for him at Benfica. He came to prominence with Heidenheim in Germany, and they were promoted a couple of seasons ago. And last season, he helped them into Europe, and his biggest strength was set pieces. His set pieces were absolutely superb. His corners, his free kicks. At Benfica, he hasn't made that same impact. And so clubs in Germany have been linked with him. Borussia Mönchengladbach are very keen. But I could see why a club like Brentford, who of course put such a focus on quality from set plays, I can see why they'd very much be interested in him. And Oliver Glasner, of course, knows that German market incredibly well. So I'm not surprised that those particular clubs are tracking him.
He's got a lovely beard, Kevin, isn't he? It's a fantastic, spectacular beard.
Lovely, luxurious beard. And there's a good story about him, actually, because so Heidenheim got promoted to the Bundesliga for the first time in their history. And they needed to come back from a couple of goals down to do it. And he looked absolutely bereft, Beste. He looked as though we've blown it. Our chance has gone. And his coach, Frank Schmidt, just said to him, come on, Nicky, we'll do it. We'll absolutely do it. I'm convinced. He was the only one who was convinced. They were 2-0 down, needed to win. And Beste played a big role in it. They came back and they won 3-2 and went up to the Bundesliga for the first time in their history.
Just a quick one. I don't think you know much about this guy. Leicester, they were told are likely to sign the French fullback, Wayo Koulibaly, 25. He's coming in from Parma. He's just £3 million, they say. What do we know about him, Kevin?
Yeah, he's solid. He's athletic. He's strong. He's somebody that can break forward but doesn't tend to do the final bit. So he doesn't get many assists. He doesn't get many goals. But what I would say, he's been a regular for Parma for quite some time. And I can understand why Leicester would move for him. James Justin has maybe struggled a bit this season, need a bit of depth in that position. He can play on the left-hand side as well. So in terms of the physical stuff, he's quick, he's strong. I can see him having no problems on that score with the Premier League. But it's always going to be a little bit of a risk in terms of that leap up. So I'll be interested to see how he does.
And just away from transfers, finally, Borussia Dortmund have got a sickness outbreak in the camp, what the Sun have called demand flu, which I thought was quite interesting. It's a flu outbreak, but it's a bad one. It's almost COVID protocols. They had to move out their training ground, Kevin.
Yeah, it's a real problem. I was actually in Dortmund on Friday. I'm okay so far. But I was there for the game against Leverkusen, and we looked at the team sheet and we were gobsmacked because they had to play Almugera Kaba, who's 18. It was his first ever Bundesliga start. Had to play Yannick Lewis. He's only in his early 20s. His first Bundesliga start. Had to play Julian Riasson, who's a fullback at centre-back. And so suddenly you've got this situation where Emre Can's out, Rami Bensebaini's out, Nico Schlotterbeck's out, all out with this flu bug that's been going round. So, yeah, they're in bad shape and they're away at Holstein Kiel tonight. So it wasn't going well for them already. They were 3-1 down inside 19 minutes against Leverkusen on Friday and they lost the game 3-2. And Nuri Sahin's under increasing pressure. And the name that keeps getting linked with that job is Erik ten Hag.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Well, we'll look out for that.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.